Chloe, hi, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time. It's so nice to see you on video and chat with you. I feel like it's been ages, but we have met in person so many times just through events in the industry and seeing each other in London and all of that jazz. I feel like it's been a long time, so it's nice to chat with you.
I know it's been ages. I can't remember what event we first met at. Was it Killian? Or is that
Yeah,
me going crazy?
no, I think you're completely right. And then I think the last one I saw you on before the pandemic was an Estee Lauder event of some sort, and we were like
Yes.
having breakfast and just hanging and
So
chatting.
nice.
Yeah, so nice, so nice. But yeah, again, that's like it feels like dog years ago.
I know, literally. It's
Yeah,
crazy. The last few years has been mental. But it's
totally.
nice. Events are happening again now, but it feels weird going to as many. I don't know, I'm used to being on my own all the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree with you. I kind of feel like it's all about finding like a new balance in this sort of like new world. But jumping into questions, like for those in the audience that might not know you from Insta, can you give us just like a brief background on who you are and like what you're all about?
So, my name is Chloe Lloyd. I started off as a model, and now I guess I'm mainly social media influencer. I mean, I hate that word. Do you?
I do hate that word.
I
I'm
hate
right
that
there
word.
with you. I love
I'm more
digital
like I prefer
creator.
creator. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a creator.
I love like inspirer, but that's a little odd as well. But
Yeah.
we get it. It all works.
Yeah, it all works. I think influencers got a bit of a bad rep now, so I just don't like saying it.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with you. So, on this podcast, I love to hone in on our guests' big moves. You have done so much in your career. You've also moved to London. But with you, I'd love to talk about sort of your big move from modeling to what you're doing now as a full time mega content creator. I'm just going to add the word mega because you are, you're amazing. You have this amazing community and your content is stunning. And so, can you just take
Oh,
us
thank you so
through?
much.
Yeah, of course. So can you just take us through like what that transition was like for you?
It was pretty natural actually because I was already sort of obsessed. I've always been really creative. I did a lot of art at school and stuff like that. So I've always loved hair, makeup, clothes. So as soon as Instagram sort of became a thing, I was posting outfits or my modeling trips behind the scenes. So it just came natural. This was before that was really a thing, I guess. So then when it became more of a thing, my agency at the time sort of jumped on that and were like, this is going to be the future. And suddenly I sort of went from just being one of the girls that I guess that they overlooked a bit more to them being a bit more of a favorite. So social media suddenly took me from being, I don't know. I feel like in the modeling industry, you've got no control over how you're put out to the world. So they obviously make a portfolio for you of pictures. You don't even get to choose which ones. They sort of decide exactly who you're going to be. But as soon as social media happened, we had the power, and Instagram became your portfolio, which was incredible because I love being, having the power, being in control.
Of course.
So yeah, and from there it just kicked off, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. And it seems like absolutely you were ahead of the curve. This was years and years and years ago. You mentioned to me that like your career sort of completely changed. Was there a specific turning point or like a moment in time that comes to mind for you where like things really took off?
I mean, as soon as social media, Instagram became a thing, then I would start doing the jobs like collaborations where I would go and model the campaign, but then I would also be posting about it. And it was really social media driven. I got to be sort of, the girl that was doing a jewelry campaign or doing a perfume campaign, bigger campaigns, which was what I wanted to do. So that was sort of thanks to social media as well. So then I guess, and I was flying around doing it, and things had my name on rather than me just modeling them. It was, Chloe Lloyd's whatever pick of clothes or pick of,
Sure.
face off things, which was always my dream. So it's great.
Yeah, of course. It seems like you were kind of the guinea pig in terms of like the modeling world and then transitioning.
Mhm.
Makes sense. So, I guess talking about your earlier days as a model, were there any like big learning experiences or anything that like stands out in your mind that you feel like has like sort of helped you with your career as where it is today?
So many. I think when you get thrown into modeling so young, I think most people my age were sort of, all my friends were going to university, they were all having fun, whereas I was being put on an aeroplane, going to meet a group of adults that I'd never met before that mainly may speak a completely different language to me, and had to be professional. So it really, I think it grows you up really quickly, and it makes you, you're forced to learn, because at first you just feel so lucky to be doing this job. 'Cause you do it for free because it's just so fun at first. And then
Sure.
you realize this is a business. So you have to get your business head on from pretty young, learn about taxes, accountant, and
Oh God.
you're 18 just freaking out like, oh my gosh. Whereas all my friends were sort of having a bit more of a chill time in life. So I definitely think I grew up quicker.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. And so I know you've like literally been on covers of magazines from like Elle, like Harper's Bazaar, and I know you've done just so much incredible work with brands. Has there been like a biggest like pinch me moment or anything that kind of sticks out in your mind there?
Um, yeah, I think any sort of magazine cover is so fun because they're just the things that you're going to have when you're older to put on the wall, aren't they? Like, it's funny because they're the things that, I mean, they don't really pay or anything. So technically they don't count as big things. But I think to like your family, your
Sure,
friends, they're the things that you put on the frame and you
sure,
say, I did this, and they know what you did. For me, I mean, one of my first sort of really big jobs, I was living in LA at the time for 3 months modeling, and I got flown to Germany to do a Maybelline ad. And I grew up being like obsessed with Maybelline TV adverts,
sure.
like Adriana Lima, like all of these amazing models. So the fact that I was doing one like was crazy to me. So that was fun, like flying from LA to Germany, and I was like 20. That was a good one.
That's insane. Literally, Adriana
Yeah.
Lima. No big deal. So, Chloe, you have done an amazing job, obviously, on Instagram, creating your online community, which is not an easy feat. It's just not. I think I would just want to pinpoint that for people. So,
Yes.
I'd love to just talk about like what do you think was the turning point for you? Like, when did you things see things really sort of click when it came to building your audience online?
Um, I don't know really. I think because I've been doing it for so long, it's been a bit of a slow process. I think the issue has been you want to keep it up and you don't want people to forget about you, especially in this day and age where so many people do it now. Like there are so many influencers, and you think like they don't have to be looking at me; they could go and look at someone else. But I think the key is sort of staying true to yourself
Sure.
and being so, because sometimes I don't know about you, but like you'll be on Instagram, you think, oh God, maybe I should do that like her, or maybe I should do this. And sometimes you have to stop yourself and be like, take little bits, but still be you, because that's the thing that makes you different. Like, that's the only thing that will make you stand out. So I think every time I do that, that's when I get a good reaction and sort of my audience react to it. Yeah,
Yeah,
being
I
on
think
myself.
absolutely. I think that's really great advice. I think there's like a time and a place to take inspiration from something, but
Yes.
there's like such a fine line. And I also think it's like you also need to put your blinders on and as you said, stay true to yourself. What is it that's making you uniquely you and your content unique? I think that's so important to just sort of try to hone in on that. And easier said than done, obviously, but no, I think that that advice is great. So, do you have any top tips in terms of building your community online? I know for you, you're always doing Q&As with your audience, and I love to see that. And that's been a lot of fun for me to actually to look at over the last couple of weeks with you because in building out my questions, I love to just research my guests and like see what their audience is asking them about. Like what are they wanting from them? So, has that been a great way for you to build rapport? And also, like what are the top questions that are kind of coming your way?
Yes, for sure. I feel like um I don't have a YouTube account, or so I don't do many things where I feel like I don't show my life too much. I'm actually quite private. So I feel like Q&A is a great way to sort of keep up a chat.
Sure.
And if you've missed anything or you've not been saying much, then you can sort of see what people want to know and get some inspiration for like the next week. Main things I get asked, mainly, I mean, probably about my hair a lot, because I don't talk too much about hair. I need to
Sure.
probably do a bit more. Makeup, relationship stuff. A lot of the time, people ask me when I'm having a child, which I hate being asked. I think it's rude.
Yeah, I love to stop and talk about that for a second because
Yeah.
I've seen some of your feedback around that question and I completely get it. It is a very personal question. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on that? And then how do you react to something like that that comes your way?
Well, generally, I would ignore it. But I think, yeah, I mean, luckily I'm not going through anything, but I think a lot of women online don't show their full life. So they could be going through, they could have just lost a child, or they could have been trying for 3 years and going through an awful experience. We have no idea what people are actually going through in real life. So I think with questions like that, just don't ask them. Um, because you don't know what that's going to trigger in someone, or it's going to upset them. And I just think it's a bit rude.
Sure, sure.
I don't think it's anyone's business. But mainly that, I know, I've heard people going through awful things, and then they keep getting asked that question. And it feels like other people are expecting them. I think some people have it enough with their friends and their family. So when
Yeah.
there's also people online asking that, it's a bit much.
Totally, and I also think that there's, like, different degrees of, like, what people wanna share. Like, just because
Hmm.
you have this public profile doesn't necessarily mean that you wanna share that part of your life, like, it should never be assumed, so, yeah, I'm right there with
Exactly.
you. So, I guess shifting gears a little bit, what has been, like, one of your most memorable brand collaborations and why?
So
Okay.
one of my most memorable, you know what? I don't know if any stand out. For me, the things that stand out are like trips.
Sure.
Just because I think one of the biggest perks of our job is that we get to travel. I remember one of my first like modeling jobs, I went to the Maldives, and there's no way I would ever have gone to the Maldives if it wasn't for my job. I mean, hopefully in the future, but at 19, there was no way that was going to happen. My family holidays would go once a year to like Spain. That was it. So I just felt like the luckiest girl in the world. Any big beauty brands, because I've always been obsessed with makeup my whole life. So every time I work with a big beauty brand, I pinch myself because I'm like, oh, 16-year-old me would be like loving
Yeah.
this. Even when like we get sent beauty products, I think like how funny that this is my life. Like, I would have, if I told 16-year-old me, she would have just been dying at the fact like it's Christmas every week in my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
With all the things that we get sent from brands, which I just feel like we're so lucky.
Absolutely. I think like the trips and the experiences that come along with it can sometimes outweigh like the actual campaign. I guess on that note, is there anything that you want to demystify around content creation, being that this is your full-time job, any like myths you want to demystify?
I think it's difficult because the term influencer gets such a broad spectrum of people now. Um, in the press, it's got a bad rep, especially with like reality stars. I find it strange that when reality stars come out of TV shows, they're suddenly called an influencer now, whereas back in the day, they would be called a celebrity.
Right.
Now, it's like everyone's an influencer, but they won't call some celebrities an influencer when technically actresses are influencers. They always have been,
Mhm.
we see them on the TV selling products, since I was a kid. Um, so yeah, I feel like we get a bit of a bad rep, but it's it's obviously not rocket science. It's not the hardest job in the world. We're very lucky. I adore it. But it's also not that easy. We are, photographer, makeup artist, hairstylist, editor, um, take pictures, pick pictures, just with a whole thing. Like I used to rock up to a shoot and just be the model, then leave.
Sure.
Now I do the hair, the makeup, the styling, everything, and then I choose it all, post it all. So I mean, you can pay for people to do that if you want to, but I'm a control freak, so I like to do it all myself.
Fair.
Um, yeah, so it's not as easy as we make it look. It's part of the job to make it look easy as well, isn't it?
That's so true.
Um, but if you love all those things, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
It's the admin that's work, isn't it? All the invoices and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We're truly like a team of like at least 5 people that would be doing those things for a small business because
Yeah. Funnily enough, my mum just started well, not just started, a few years ago, started a house account. So she's now like a little influencer on the
I love
side,
it.
which is just so funny. So she's always calling me up, asking me questions, what to write in emails,
Sure.
how to edit this. Yeah, she's in shock at how difficult it is being an influencer. She was like, "Oh, I always thought that your life was so easy, and so it's quite hard." And I was like, "Yeah, Mum, I'm glad that you now know that."
Oh my god, I mean, kudos to your mom for even trying.
I
It's a whole new world
know.
for them.
I know it really is. Um, she loves it.
Yeah. So, I guess talking about personal branding, that's obviously a huge part of the job, and I feel like it kinda comes with the territory. Do you have any tips on creating a personal brand, maybe for somebody that's just starting out? What do you think has sort of worked well for you?
So I'd say at first I was just posting what I was getting a good reaction for, and it wasn't necessarily me or my style. And especially with modeling, you're sort of put into certain outfits or styles that aren't you. You know, I was modeling like little tight dresses, and that was not my vibe really in real life. So at first I was sort of posting those pictures, and it was not me or my brand at all. So I slowly just honed in on what I really loved. Making Pinterest boards helps me to sort of get together all the things that I adore and create sort of. I also love making mood boards. I post them on my stories sometimes. It's just things I'm into lately. It's sort of creating or curating like a whole vibe that is my brand, I guess, and my style. And then you sort of feed that into your fashion sense, your makeup, and then your Instagram sort of becomes more you. And I think then for sort of future collaborations or future things that I do, I know I've got a certain aesthetic that I want to stick to and that people could maybe think, oh, Chloe would like that or that's her vibe.
Absolutely, that makes so much sense. It's like, stay true to your passion, post the things that you love, and right, I feel like those collaborations, they'll sort of come along a bit more naturally.
Yeah, I think being individual is literally the only way in this industry.
Yeah.
Because especially now there's so many girls.
So, Chloe, you are obviously the beauty guru. So, have you always loved
Oh.
beauty and makeup and all of the things, or like when did that really come about for you?
Always, I feel like as soon as I heard about makeup, I mean, I've always loved art, so I see it as sort of creative. Like in the morning, I love that time doing a bit of makeup on your own, put a podcast on. But yeah, no, since I was young, I was putting a bit of makeup on for school, trying not to get told off by the teacher. Um, Spending all my pocket money on makeup. I loved YouTube when it first begun. I used to watch like the first ever YouTubers and I was obsessed.
Love it. I love it. What are some of your like go-to brands, like die-hard products cannot live without?
Oh God, I've got so many. Like every time someone asks, like I feel like the main question people ask in life, what's your favorite foundation? I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot just choose one.
Yeah, fair.
I have a full like, I
Okay.
have to give you 20.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
I'd say NARS Creamy Concealer is a concealer I always go back to.
Such a good one.
Laura Mercier Translucent Powder, good powder. MAC Strip Down Lip Liner, I use all the time. These are just products that I definitely always rebuy. Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze, just talked about that today in my stories.
Yes, I was just eyeing that, which is so funny because I used mine today. I'm obsessed with it. I feel like I finally found the brow product I was looking for.
It
Yeah.
works. I know. I feel like they all go really crispy, and this one
Yes.
like lasts the longest.
Yes. It gives you that shape and that like hold. Love it.
Yeah, obsessed. I love a cream. I love cream products. So cream blusher. Naturally, I have dry skin, so anything
Okay.
creamy. I'm into
Okay.
glow, bronze. Give it to me.
Okay. Love it. And what's like your go-to everyday look?
Probably, yeah, I need to sort of look a bit bronzed, dewy skin, bit of blush, bronzer in the eye and mascara.
Okay. Amazing. And we need to talk dewy skin, obviously, and skincare because your skin is always on point. What are like the few skincare bits that like are always sort of helping to give you that like radiant, that dewy glow?
Um, so I naturally have dry skin, so I'm always doing hydration of every form. So I'm one of those people that can wear like thick moisturizers and it not be too oily on my skin. But mainly serums. I love a good serum. I love Sunday Riley. I love their retinol. Um, honestly, at nighttime, I'm just like putting everything on.
Yeah.
I have to go to bed like shiny with all the layers. Um, what else have I? A good eye cream. I love La Mer. I love Elizabeth Arden. So many.
Okay, those are such good ones. I love Sunday Riley. Like, I feel like I've used a few of their serums and they're spot on. And
They're so good.
I also feel you on retinol. I think like that is the one thing that you need to help you just like
Yeah.
renew your skin overnight. So good.
Yes. And I think that's one of the only things that's been like really clinically proven to stop wrinkles, right? Or like get rid of
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
So as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, then retinol it is every day.
I love it. So shifting gears a little bit. I know that you mentioned you got married young. You get a lot of questions about your relationship. What
Mhm.
are some of those like top relationship questions that you get, and like do you want to share any with the audience that you think could be helpful?
Um, I always get a lot of wedding themed questions. I feel like when we got married, I was so young. I'd only been to, I mean, I wasn't that young, but we got engaged at 22. So, and I'd only been to one wedding before when I was like 13. So I had to plan a wedding just out of my brain. I had no idea what I was meant to have. But I think that really helped because I just wasn't bothered at all and it ended up really great. So I get a lot of wedding questions. Um, Relationship wise, I mean, Josh was in a boy band, so I get some of his fans asking questions about
I
him.
love that. We have to ask what boy band. What I may not know it because I'm
No, you won't
American, but
know. You no, you're American. So he was on the X Factor TV show back in the day. This is 10 years ago now. He was 19, and they formed their boy band called Union J. They were like just after One Direction, so they were
okay.
always kind of chasing One Direction.
Okay, got it.
Um, but yeah, they were huge with sort of the younger girl age group. And yeah, he smashed it. Really, he had his own doll,
Oh my god.
his own lip
Go
balm, his
him.
own towels. We've got it all.
You've got all the merch. I love it.
Yeah.
Was there anything challenging in those earlier years in dating someone that's, kind of very much in the public eye?
So when I met him, it wasn't when he'd started. He was a few years in. I'd say at first I got quite a lot of hate from from his
Wow.
fans. I think I now I understand. Like they, adored him,
Sure.
thought that they were going to marry him. So they were
Right.
like, "Who is this gal?"
Right. Fair.
So I got quite like savage trolls. That's the only time I've been trolled
Okay.
actually. But it's fine. They love me now, hopefully.
Fair.
Um, well, hopefully they're 10 years older now. So yeah, that was it really. Otherwise, it was fine. Although years later, so the past few years, I'd say in lockdown, he had a bit of I don't know, like a mental health, how do you describe it? Breakdown, I guess. Um, so that was difficult. So I get a lot of questions on that sort of how to help someone in your relationship that's been through mental health problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to hear that. Is there any like advice that you would give someone that's like maybe encountering that with their partner? I mean, I feel like yeah, over the last couple years we're all talking about it a lot more, which I think is amazing. But I guess if you have any advice for someone maybe who's in your similar shoes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was such a battle because I mean, I just wanted to help him, obviously, and find a way to help him. So he had a therapist, and I would talk to his therapist all the time, like, how can I help? Because it was awful, because it was lockdown. I was the only person that could help. It was just me and him in a house. So I was like, the timing on this is not good. But I think it's because it was locked down. That's why it came out in him. And I think because the music industry, honestly, I thought the modeling industry was savage. The music industry is horrific. So I completely understood why he'd become the way he felt. Um, but the best advice is honestly, I mean, you can help in ways that you can encourage him. I'd be reading him quotes and stuff, and like,
Sure.
I tried in every way. But at the end of the day, only they can help themselves. Um, so the best advice is to actually nudge them in the right direction, but you can't help them because then they didn't help themselves. The only way they can actually come out of it is to help
Yeah.
themselves. So really, you have to kind of stay away. Remember, your life is your own life. Look after yourself and let them sort of get through it. As long as you're there to support them.
Yeah, I think that's perfect advice. I feel like you're right. You
Yeah.
hit a sort of point where there's only so much that you can do sitting in your shoes, and right, it's on the person to really take that action because it is action,
Hmm.
and I understand the struggle. Yeah, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, I felt like a therapist by the end of it. Like, I feel like I've learned so much about psychology, the human mind.
Yeah, but those are
It's crazy.
great tools too to have and like just have them under your belt in case you are ever going through something in the future.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, a little birdie told me that you were thinking about starting your own podcast. I guess my first
Hmm.
question is because you already mentioned sort of listening to podcasts while you were doing your makeup. What are your favorite ones, firstly?
The big move.
Oh my gosh, you're kind. Love it.
Duh. I love a podcast. You know what? It's the only thing that makes me clean. I'll put it on and clean the house
It's great.
because I'm listening to
Yeah.
something. I'm like, yeah, I'll
Yep.
clean.
Yep.
Or like doing my makeup, a good inspirational one. Ones I love. Oh my gosh, now I'm gonna go blank. Um, Not an inspirational one. I love Table Manners
Ooh,
by Jessie
I don't
Ware.
know that one. Okay.
You'll love
Ooh,
it. It's kind of food based, but she has a guest on in her house with and she cooks with her
okay.
mum. And her mum's really funny, and together they'll
Okay.
cook a meal for the guest, and they'll just chat to them. But they get out all the gossip because like this person feels so comfortable in their
Okay.
house. They have huge guests on it. It's really
Okay.
good, and I even have their cookbook
Oh,
actually.
amazing.
Who else do I listen to? Diary of a CEO. Um, I can't even think now.
No, those are good ones.
Any sort of TED Talk
Okay. Sure.
ones, I love.
Okay.
Good inspirational moment.
Amazing. So, why is podcasting something that you're sort of thinking about? And what do you think is the premise of like your future show?
Well, I was thinking, with our industry, it's very sort of beauty, fashion related, and I just wanted to do something that means something, um, and a little project. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about doing. But I'd want it to be for women, sort of targeting women's issues, but also like fun, get some fun guests on
Yeah.
there. Um, so not all too serious, but a bit of everything really, but definitely targeted for women.
Amazing. Well, we're excited to see what you do next. And I completely agree with you. I think the podcast has been such a rewarding experience and being able to
Mhm.
create value in a whole new and different way. We do so much on Instagram that's, beautiful content, but I think the conversations that we have and right bringing it back to women and the issues and the struggles that we're going through is really amazing. So we will look out for that. As a last word of advice, what do you want to leave our audience with today?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like throughout it, I've said a few times to be yourself. I think, especially in this world of social media, like please don't look at any of us and think you want to be us, or you want to be anyone, or anyone else is living a better life than you. You're living your life, um, and yeah, you got to trust the journey, love yourself, and yeah, don't get too sucked into social
Yeah,
media.
absolutely. I love that advice. Is there anything exciting coming up for you that you want to chat on, minus the podcast?
Um, this year I should have more collections with Pretty Lavish. I do like little collections with them where I design pieces and clothes. I love that because I get to do the photo shoot as well. They give me full reign, which is so fun. So we've got a couple of those coming out this year. But yeah, that's it really.
Amazing. And I have a follow-up question. I wanted to know more about Pretty Lavish because I'm not as familiar with the
Mhm.
brand being just an American living
Yep.
here. What is the brand like? Like, what is it all about?
So basically, I mean, I've always wanted to do a collaboration with a brand, but I really wanted to get involved in it. And a lot of the brands here in the UK are fast fashion. But I wanted to find a brand that was not too expensive, not fast fashion, uh, I mean, they're very into their sustainability, good quality, and I found pretty lavish. They'd gifted me a couple of times, so I set up a meeting with the girls and was like, "Can we do a collection?" And luckily, they were up for it.
Amazing.
I basically told them to do a collection with me, because we just their style is very like my
Sure.
style. So yeah, so that was probably maybe 4 years ago now. And I've done two collections a year now for 3 years. So this will be my fifth collection, I think. So maybe it's not. Maybe it's 2 years. Anyway, yeah, it's 2 years because the first one came out just like as lockdown started, and I was freaking out. So yeah, this is my third year with them. I'm very excited. And they're lovely. They've got great ethos, and the quality is amazing.
Amazing. Well, congrats on that. And also talk about like asking for what you want. Like you set up a meeting and you were like,
Yeah,
hey, let's do this together. So that is a great tip as
literally.
well to leave us with. So
It
thank
really is.
you.
Honestly, all my best jobs have come from me telling the brand to work with
Yeah.
me.
No, I love that. And it's not easy. Where can
No.
everybody follow you, keep up with you, like find all your beautiful content?
You can find me on at Chloe Lloyd on Instagram. I mean, I have a TikTok. I need to get more into it,
Feel
but
that.
that's at X Chloe Lloyd, I think. Says my Twitter, and that's it.
Amazing. Chloe, thank you so much. This was such a
Thank
fun
you.
convo. So thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Thank you all for listening and watching. If you found value from this episode, please share it with a friend. Tag us on Instagram at The Big Move Podcast and at Monday_Network. We always love to hear your feedback, and we'll catch you on the next episode.